Howdy friends, welcome back to the Happy Homestead. Today I am going to make baba ganoush. I have these gorgeous eggplant from our homestead garden. They have been in the refrigerator for maybe a week now, and that was the dog, sorry. He's trying to eat the camera. And they really need to be used up. And baba ganoush is one of my favorite ways. Now, you all know, if you've been following along, eggplant parm is like, oh, so good. But I've made eggplant parm at least once or twice now with eggplant from the garden so far this year. And I have some frozen during the Every Bit Counts challenge, so we can have some later this winter. So I don't really want to make eggplant parm with this. I want to make baba ganoush. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. So I have a cookie sheet here lined with parchment paper. I am just going to slice off the stem here. And my oven is preheating at 450 degrees. Then I sliced down the middle. And we're just going to put that on the parchment paper. I'm actually going to drizzle it with olive oil. And then we're going to put cut side down, and we're going to roast it until it's really good and soft, which is going to be about 30 minutes. Baba ganoush, if you're not familiar with it, is very similar to a hummus-like consistency. Slightly different flavor, but delicious in its own right. I'm just gonna get that olive oil on all of the exposed sides, put that down, and bake this in 450 degrees for, like I said, approximately 30 minutes. All right, I just turned the oven off. I took the eggplant out. It was in for a total of 45 minutes. Let me show you what it looks like. So the outside skin is, it was harder. It's certainly softening up now, but when you flip it over, it's beautifully charred, and underneath there is that soft, gooey center. So I'm just gonna leave these here for a little bit to cool until they're cool enough just to handle. So I took the eggplants out. As you saw, they are cool enough to touch now, and you'll see the top's kind of shriveled a little bit. What we're gonna do now is scoop out the guts, and I've got a bowl here with a strainer, and we're going to put all of the goodness that we're scooping out, the guts, into the strainer over the bowl. And that is because there is some liquid in here, and you want to get as much liquid, just that free-forming liquid, out as much as possible. And so that's what will drain into the bowl. And then we'll let that sit for 10 minutes or so, and then we'll go and proceed to make the baba ganoush. If you don't do this step, it's not the end of the world. It just helps your baba ganoush have that thicker, creamier consistency without all the extra water. So I'm just gonna go one by one and start scooping. Hopefully it comes out fairly easy for you. Okay, all of the innards are out. I'm just gonna kind of press down on this a little bit. I want you to see all of the liquid that is coming out already, right? You wouldn't think it would be very much, but it's enough that it does change your consistency. So I'm just gonna mash it up in here a little bit, get some of that liquid out, and then we'll come back in about 10 minutes or so and proceed to the next step. All right, it has been about 20 minutes. I want to show you all of the liquid we got. You may not be able to see that very well, but it's at least a half, maybe 2/3 of a cup of liquid out. So let's get started with doing everything else. I am using my food processor. Basic baba ganoush ingredients, very similar to hummus. Instead of the chickpeas, right, we're using the eggplant. We are going to do 3 cloves of garlic, more or less on your preference. We love garlic, so I'm actually using 3 large cloves. We are going to use some cumin, some smoked paprika, salt, lemon juice, olive oil, and tahini. Tahini is also in hummus. So you'll see that the recipe is very similar, and then we'll put some chopped parsley in and on top as well. Now, just like the hummus, if you saw that hummus video, I always start with the garlic in my food processor. I just think it makes life easier than me having to chop it. It's just always the first thing I put in. All right, we're gonna start adding everything else. We've got our eggplant. I'm going to add the juice of 2 lemons. I'm going to add about 1/4, maybe a third of good quality tahini. Smoked paprika, maybe a teaspoon. Teaspoon of cumin, well, maybe a little bit more. Redmond real salt. I'm gonna add a little bit of my parsley in, and then I'll save the rest to top it with. We're gonna have this going in the food processor and drizzle in some olive oil. I drizzled in maybe 1/4 cup. That consistency looks really nice. So at this point, it's worth tasting it, making sure it's got enough level of the salt and the texture that you want. Very good, but it does need more salt. All right, I'm gonna spoon this into a container. It's best to make hummus or baba ganoush about a day before you plan on using it or eating it. And that is so that the flavors have a really good chance to kind of come together. I know that probably sounds a little bit fluffy, but it's the truth. The more they sit, the more they meld together, the more things are expressed, like the lemon and the salt, and it just tastes better. So I'm gonna get this into my container. Baba ganoush is done. In the refrigerator it goes. Delicious. Thanks for joining me. As I say always, try to make it yourself. The reason I do this, guys, is number one, it fills me, right? I love to be able to share things that I've learned in the kitchen, but also because I really want to inspire you to try something new. Until next time, stay healthy, stay well. Bye-bye.